I took care of my grandma for 5 years. Then she left everything to my spoiled cousin, but she never expected what I'd do next. For 5 years, I put my life on hold to take care of my grandma. Doctor's appointments, grocery runs, late-night emergencies. I was there for everything. Meanwhile, my cousin Jake. He never visited, never called, never even sent a card. Then, after Grandma passed away, we all sat down for the reading of her will. And guess what? She left everything to Jake. Her house, her savings, everything. He's family, and I know he'll need it more than you, the will said. I was devastated, but if they thought I was just going to walk away quietly, they were dead wrong. Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. For 5 years, my life revolved around taking care of Grandma. It wasn't easy. She had mobility issues, needed constant checkups, and couldn't drive anymore. That meant I was the one running errands, driving her to doctor's appointments, cooking meals, and making sure she was never alone. And I did it without hesitation, because I loved her. Meanwhile, my cousin Jake, the so-called golden boy of the family, never lifted a damn finger. He never visited, never called, never even sent a card on her birthday. He was too busy partying, blowing through money, and acting like he was some big-shot entrepreneur, even though he had never worked a real job in his life. Whenever Grandma asked about him, I had to lie through my teeth. I'm sure he's just busy, Grandma. He'll come visit soon. But deep down, I knew the truth. Jake didn't care, and honestly, that was fine by me. Because at the end of the day, I was the one who was there for her. I was the one who made sacrifices. I was the one who gave up vacations, late nights out, and opportunities, because she needed me. So when she passed away, I was devastated. Losing her felt like losing a piece of myself. But the one thing that gave me peace was knowing that she had always said, "I'll make sure you're taken care of." And I believed her. Until the day we read the will. That's when everything fell apart. The day of the will reading, I walked into the lawyer's office feeling numb. I wasn't thinking about money. I wasn't thinking about inheritance. I was just grieving. But Jake? He strolled in 20 minutes late, wearing sunglasses indoors like he was some kind of celebrity. "Yo, let's get this over with," he said, smirking like he had somewhere more important to be. I clenched my fists but stayed quiet. The lawyer cleared his throat and started reading. At first it was normal, some sentimental items, small amounts of money for other family members. Then he got to the big stuff. Grandma's house, her entire life savings. And in one sentence, my whole world shattered. I leave my estate to my grandson Jake, as I believe he will need it more than my name will. I felt my breath hitch. I had given up my life for her. I had been there for everything. And now she was handing everything to the one person who never gave a damn about her. I turned to Jake, expecting him to be shocked too. But instead, he just grinned. "Damn, Grandma really came through for me," he laughed, leaning back in his chair like this was just another lucky break for him. I felt my blood boil. Lawyer kept reading, but I didn't hear anything else. All I could hear was the sound of my own rage. Jake didn't deserve this. And if he thought I was just going to walk away quietly, he was about to get the shock of his life. I sat there, staring at the lawyer like I had misheard him. "I believe Jake will need it more than you." What did that even mean? I was the one who took care of Grandma. I was the one who put my life on hold for her. And Jake? He was the one who had partied, ignored her, and never even bothered to visit. And now, he had just been handed everything on a silver platter. I turned to Jake, half expecting him to at least look guilty. But nope, he just sat there, grinning like an idiot. "Man, this is wild," he chuckled, shaking his head. "I mean, I knew Grandma always liked me, but damn, a whole house? This is insane." I clenched my fists under the table. The lawyer finished reading, asked if there were any questions, and then that was it. Jake got up, stretched like he had just woken up from a nap, and slapped me on the back. "No hard feelings, man. You'll land on your feet." I wanted to punch him, but instead, I just smiled. Because in that moment, I realized something. Jake wasn't smart enough to handle a house. He wasn't responsible enough to manage Grandma's savings. And if he thought this was going to be easy money, he was in for a rude awakening. I wasn't going to beg for scraps. I wasn't going to sit around feeling sorry for myself. I was going to make sure Jake wasted every single penny, and by the time he realized what he had lost, it would already be too late. I walked out of that lawyer's office without saying a word to Jake. I could feel his smug energy behind me, probably waiting for me to break, to yell, to beg for something. But I didn't. Because while he was busy celebrating his free ride, I was already planning his downfall. And the best part? I didn't have to do anything shady. Jake was going to ruin himself. All I had to do was watch. I knew Jake better than anyone. He had never saved $1 in his life. He blew through money like it was infinite. So when he suddenly inherited a 6-figure savings account and a fully paid-off house, I knew exactly what he was going to do. And he didn't disappoint. Within a week, he had posted pictures of a brand new luxury car, expensive bottles at clubs, a shopping spree with his boys, and the caption, "Gotta enjoy life while you can. Grandma would want me to be happy." Unbelievable. Meanwhile, he had no job, no clue how property taxes worked, no idea that just because you inherit a house doesn't mean you can afford to keep it. And I just sat back and waited. 2 months later, I got a call. Not from Jake, from one of our mutual cousins. "Dude, have you seen Jake lately? He's freaking out." I grinned. "What happened?" "He's broke, already. And apparently he forgot he had to pay property taxes on Grandma's house. The bill just came in and it's like thousands of dollars. He's losing it." I laughed. Jake had assumed Grandma's house was just free money, that he could just live in it without ever paying a dime. Now, reality was slapping him in the face, and it was about to get so much worse. Because Jake, being the moron he is, had taken out a loan against the house to fund his spending spree, which meant he was in serious debt, and he had no way to pay it off. The house wasn't a blessing, it was about to become a nightmare. And when he finally realized it, that's when he called me. The second I saw Jake's name pop up on my phone, I knew exactly why he was calling. I let it ring, then ring again, then straight to voicemail. "Hey man, look, I know things have been kind of weird between us, but I was hoping we could talk. Call me back when you can." I smirked. "Oh, now you want to talk?" I didn't call him back. Not yet. Because I wanted him to sweat. A few days later, another voicemail. "Hey, so I kind of messed up. I took out a loan on Grandma's house, and now I've got this huge tax bill, and look, man, I just need a little help. Can we meet up?" I laughed out loud. Jake had burned through everything, the inheritance, the loan money, all of it. And now he was looking for a bailout. From me, the guy he had looked down on, the guy he had dismissed at the will reading like I was nothing. And now, I was the only one who could save him. So, I finally called him back. When I met up with him at a diner, I barely recognized him. The cocky grin was gone. The expensive clothes were gone. Instead, he looked exhausted. "Dude," he started, "I need your help." I leaned back in my chair, arms crossed. "Help? I thought you didn't need me, Jake. I thought Grandma said you were the one who needed everything more than me." He swallowed hard. "Look, I know I screwed up, all right? But the bank is breathing down my neck, and I can't make the payments. If I don't do something fast, I'm going to lose the house." I pretended to think about it. "So, let me get this straight," I said, tapping my fingers on the table. "You ignored Grandma for years, got her entire estate handed to you, blew through every penny, and now you need me to fix it?" Jake rubbed his hands over his face. "I know it looks bad, but man, I don't have anywhere else to go. You know I'm not good with money. You just thought I'd save you," I finished for him. He stayed silent. I let out a slow breath and looked him right in the eye. "No." His eyes widened. "Wait, what?" "No," I repeated. "I'm not helping you, Jake. You made your choices. Now you get to live with them." His face crumpled. He opened his mouth to argue, but I didn't give him the chance. I stood up, threw a few bucks on the table for my coffee, and gave him one last look. "Enjoy Grandma's house while you still have it." Then, I walked out. And for the first time since that will reading, I felt at peace. Jake tried calling me again. And again. I never picked up, because I knew what was coming next. See, Jake had no options left. He had burned through the inheritance, taken out a loan he couldn't afford, and now the bank was closing in on him. And just a few weeks later, I got confirmation. It came from my aunt, the only family member who still bothered to keep in touch with Jake. "Did you hear?" she asked. I smirked. "Hear what?" "Jake lost the house." I leaned back in my chair, exhaling slowly. Perfect. Turns out, Jake couldn't make the loan payments, and the bank foreclosed on Grandma's house. The same house he had bragged about inheriting. The same house he had rubbed in my face. Gone. And where was Jake now? Sleeping on a friend's couch. He had gambled and lost. And the best part? I didn't have to do a damn thing. All I had to do was step back and let his own stupidity destroy him. And now he had nothing. Not the house, not the money, not even his pride. Meanwhile, I was thriving. I had saved my money, I had a steady job, and I had never needed Grandma's inheritance to succeed. Jake had won the will reading, but in the end, I won at life. A few months passed. Life went on, and Jake, he was struggling. Without the house, without Grandma's savings, without anyone left to bail him out, he was finally facing the real world. No more handouts, no more easy money. And for the first time in his life, he actually had to work for something. I heard bits and pieces from family, how he was hopping from couch to couch, looking for a place to crash, how he was working some dead-end job, barely making enough to get by, how he had gone from bragging about his inheritance to begging people for favors. And honestly, I didn't feel bad, because Jake had made his choice. He had taken everything Grandma gave him and wasted it, and now he had nothing left. Then, one day, I got a text from Jake. "Hey, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but can we talk?" I stared at the message for a long time. I could guess what was coming, a sob story, an apology, some excuse about how he had changed, how he just needed one more chance. I could have ignored it. But instead, I replied with 2 words. Not interested, and that was that. Jake had gotten everything he wanted, and in the end, he lost it all on his own. After I sent that text, not interested, I expected Jake to lash out, to call me bitter, to try and guilt trip me, to throw some half-assed excuse about how he had changed. But he didn't, because he knew he had burned his last bridge. I went about my life, not thinking about him. Then, one day, I got a call from my aunt. "Did you hear about Jake?" I rolled my eyes. "What now?" "He left town, packed up what little he had left, and just disappeared." I blinked. "What do you mean, disappeared?" "No one knows where he went," she said. "He was couch hopping, but people got tired of him mooching. He was behind on rent, behind on everything. Last I heard, he said he was going to start fresh somewhere new." I let out a slow breath. Jake had finally run out of people to use. No family left to manipulate. No money left to waste. No safety net. And honestly, I didn't care. I had spent too much of my life watching him take and take, without ever giving back. Now, he was someone else's problem. I never heard from him again. Maybe he finally grew up. Maybe he just found a new sucker to latch onto. But me, I moved on. Jake thought he had won when he got Grandma's inheritance. But the truth, he lost everything. And me, I didn't need a handout to succeed. I built my own life, and that's why I won. Some people will take everything they can, and still expect more. Jake thought Grandma's inheritance was his golden ticket. But money doesn't fix bad habits. It just makes people self-destruct faster. So, let me ask you, have you ever watched someone waste an opportunity they didn't deserve? Drop your stories in the comments. I'd love to hear them. And if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. In